Thanks, man. And we're live.
We are live. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Fast Charging with B, the Bear, and B,
And I guess I'm the other B, the Brian.
the Brian. Welcome back,
Yeah.
everyone. We are going to do our 59th episode of Fast Charging, where we give you all the non fake news about EVs that you could ever wish for. I'm thinking that should be our channel motto going forward, but maybe Brian will put up a poll. I don't know.
I disagree that should be our title because we also cover so many renders and so much CGI that
But we
that
call it
some of
out. We call it
That's
out as
true.
being fake.
That's true. That's true. And but the good news is we recognize the leaders, specifically the leader,
The leader, Mary.
Mary.
Mary Barra, who is going to lead GM somewhere. We got some things to talk about with GM today, but we're going to start with our first render of the day, aren't we?
Oh, I love me some quality renders. What to know about Zeekr, the Chinese EV brand aiming for a US IPO? Now that is a render.
Yes, absolutely. And it looks like something with an EV6 had mated with, because it's kind of got the back end of an EV6, but it doesn't have a front end because it's a render. So I don't know what the front looks like.
Scroll down.
Oh, ooh, that looks like a Dodge Challenger grille and headlight setup with multiple
Mhm.
headlights, and I don't know what is going on. Oh, those are Corvette headlights, aren't they?
Are they? Because they're so high up. It looks like Taycan kind of. It looks like you typed in Chinese EV into some AI, and it was like, I don't know, give it this and a bunch of extra human fingers,
Ooh,
and that's what you got.
scroll down a little more.
Oh, wow, look at you.
Woo!
That's
Okay, so
again,
they stole the wheels
yeah.
off of a Lincoln Navigator.
Mm-hmm.
That's apparent. They stole the grill off my grill
Uh-huh.
for
Yes,
the front,
I think that's correct.
and then they
They
put
stole the license plate off a James Bond spoof. That's cool.
in that is a what is that? The Ford, was it not the Flex? Was it the Flex?
Oh, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, I can see that.
yeah, that's the body of it. Okay.
I like how in the reflection there's apparently a mountain directly above the vehicle. This is quality, and by that I mean very low. They stopped using Fiverr and now they're just typing it into Stable Diffusion and DALI 2. All right,
Wow. Okay. Well,
cool.
you know that whatever that thing is, that 009, 116 or 140 kilowatt battery, that thing must be bigger than it looks. Because
Yeah.
it looks tiny. Maybe it's because those it's got those giant wheels on it.
What are those 24s?
I don't know, 44s maybe, but 511 miles of range. So anyway, Zeekr, now that we've mocked the car intensely, is looking to file a U.S. IPO and go public in the U.S. And Zeekr is owned by Geely, the biggest Chinese automotive conglomerate.
Are they that big?
They are big. Yeah, they.
I know they're big, but I didn't know if they were bigger than the others, BYD and.
I don't know, to be honest with you. They're one of
But
the.
they
They're one of
are.
the.
Yeah,
Yeah, they're huge. So
yeah.
just gonna have a spin-off, and the name Zeekr cracks me up. It's supposed to be like a combination of geek and something else, but
Mm.
it really would have gone a little bit further if they got the extra e in there. Because
Well, yeah. I mean, maybe they wanted to. Yeah, maybe they were thinking, what's a popular app? I don't know, Grinder.
does Grinder have an e in it? I have no
I don't
idea.
know.
Because
I don't
I
know.
don't have that app. I swear. Check my
Oh,
phone.
you don't?
No, I don't. Do you?
No,
You
no.
gotta.
I saw a funny meme though that said the guy said I was at Thanksgiving and my Grinder app notification went off and my mom said, "Oh, your dad plays that game on his phone too."
That's funny.
I assume it's not true, but it's very funny.
Yes, it is. So
Um,
the Zeekr name is supposed to be Geek and Generation Z mixed together, but it still needs that E to actually translate into English. Just saying. Just saying.
yeah. Yeah. I think the name is better without the backstory. Because anyway.
Yeah. So, like, this is a spin-off from one of Geely's existing companies, like Volvo, Polestar, Lotus, um, things like that. GM is planning on doing this also. They've already put out there that there's going to be a Corvette brand, and they're going to make a Corvette, a sports car, electric sports car. Then they're going to make an electric sedan and some sort of electric Corvette SUV, which is going to be pretty fantastic, I think. I think it's great. A good spin-off for that name, even though it's kind of sacrilegious in a bit. But I think we talked about that last week. But there's rumors that they're going to do that with Camaro and Escalade.
Hmm.
And I can almost see that on Escalade. Escalade's got a name, but Camaro, I mean, don't get me wrong. My first car is a 69 Camaro, and I've owned probably half a dozen of them. But I don't think that brand is that good. That name.
Why did Ford choose to defile the Mustang brand with a crossover SUV? Are
Well,
you trying to kill your ICE brands along with your EVs? I don't get it.
I don't get it. I know they wanted the name recognition and for people to go into it a little bit easier, going, well, it's a Mustang, but it's not. You can't put a horse on it and say it's a Mustang because it's not. So uh, the Camaro brand, though, they don't sell a lot of Camaros.
No.
They're
The brand had cachet up, I'd say, until the 90s,
yeah.
but since then,
It really it lacks the Camaro. I mean, Challenger and Charger and Mustang still, I think they're just way ahead of Camaro as far as like name recognition. I think everybody
they
knows
did.
what they
Oh,
are,
yeah.
but
I think Challenger and Charger and really all the muscle cars coming out of Chrysler um, did a really good job of branding themselves. Starting, I would say with the Dodge Magnum. Even that was,
yeah, for its time, yeah, that was a cool little car. I always wanted to get,
yeah,
well, not little. I always wanted to get one. I never ended up getting one because the V8 version of that was it was pretty good for its time. So
yeah. I drove one for a week once, and it was great. It was fine. It was a lot of fun, and I just like the look of it.
hmm
But I would agree. The idea. I mean, Escalade. Okay, I can see. I guess, but Camaro. Whatever, man. Uh, Bear, who are you to challenge the leader?
I am Bear.
Uh, Bear v. Barra, the rumble of the century.
Yeah. So
That
GM
would be weird.
GM does have some other things in line. I think we showed a picture of this car last week
Yes.
as a Chinese only sedan, but now it's rumored that rumored fake news, that this might be the car that's going to replace the Malibu. And
Wasn't the Malibu a two-door?
no,
Oh,
well,
okay.
50 years ago, yeah, there was a Chevelle and a Malibu.
Huh.
You remember those? And they had
Well,
a
I'm thinking of the 90s Malibu. Oh, right. No, no, no. I'm thinking of the Monte Carlo.
okay.
Yeah, no, no, no. Well, you know what? The Malibu is such a boring car that this would be a big step up.
Yeah, absolutely. The Malibu is like one of the most boring cars that, well, no, GM puts out a lot of boring cars. So I take that back.
Yeah.
It's right in line with a lot of their boring cars.
The problem is the Malibu is so boring that it actually has a warning to not operate a vehicle while driving it because it'll put you to sleep.
Tesla's autopilot should have that also. Just saying, I could fall asleep driving that. Never have.
Yeah. Yeah, don't. Well, the good news is it now would wake you up.
Yeah, yeah. So so you
Probably
say.
before you crash.
Yeah. Speaking of
Oh, I
crash,
guess.
speaking of
Yeah.
crashing, GM, uh, their battery plant has unionized with the UAW, or they have voted to unionize.
Oh, I read it wrong. It's batteries, so I thought that the batteries were going to be unionized.
Ah, yes, you did read that wrong. All right. Well, what you got in that cup?
Just coffee.
All right.
Yeah.
Do we
No,
need to start drug testing?
Oh. No,
You
no.
didn't think I was going to throw that one in, did you?
No, I've already had them tested. They're fine.
Okay. I always test
Uh,
my drugs before I take them.
by the way, did you hear that in Oregon, some pot shop decided they were going to start selling magic mushrooms?
Is that legal in Oregon?
Not yet. No, they got raided. I mean,
Oh, hey, dudes! I thought this was all cool now.
I thought this was America. I don't know what they were thinking. There was some law that passed that would pave the way to some kind, but they were like, "Oh, fuck it, we're just gonna start selling them."
Let's see what happens.
What's the worst they could do? Raid you and arrest you.
Huh.
I didn't see that coming. William says Brian's sipping on ayahuasca. That would make for a very different. So yeah, the battery plant's gonna unionize.
Yeah, though it's not final yet. It was reported that 98% of the votes cast were in favor of the union.
Yeah,
That is, it makes you
that's
wonder.
higher than I would have guessed.
It makes you wonder if there was like a dude standing there with a gun saying, "You guys know who to vote for, right?"
Well, especially considering no one abstained from voting.
There was only
Um,
16 votes against it.
yeah, where was this? Oh, is this the Warren plant?
Uh,
If it's
it,
Ohio, I
it,
can see the
it's,
numbers being very, very
it
high.
was Ohio, yes.
Yeah, I can see the union. Yeah, I mean, auto plants in Union in Ohio. Yeah,
Yeah.
but I'm not worried about it. GM has enough experience with it. Uh,
But it does make me wonder why GM would go to uh, a state that has the ability to bring that in. Why would they not try to go to some of the states that don't have pro labor laws?
I think it's because the labor cost per battery is so low that it's not that important. That even doubling or tripling their pay would only result in each pack being another $5-10.
Okay.
Because yeah, because I mean, so much of the battery process is robots.
Yeah, there are not a lot of employees there. There's just under 800. So,
Yeah, yeah. Think of the battery as being like the engine uh, for a normal car. There's a lot more than 800 people that go into making the engine.
right.
All right. Uh, but
I, I got
speaking
no.
of GM, their EV in China. They've got a new one coming out. Wu Ling is a partner of GM. Did you know that?
No, I did not know that. That's why I was
Oh,
like,
oh,
where the hell are you going with
yeah.
this?
Yeah, sometimes when GM brags about how many EVs they've sold, they lump in all of the Wu Ling numbers.
I'm sorry. That looks like something I coughed up.
It's not ideal. It's adorable. I would love to see one at a car show. Not so much in my driveway.
I've got a hand truck that has bigger tires than that.
I bet you do. Yeah, it's oof, oof. But um, the good news about cars like this is it makes end of life care much more affordable, and you don't have to worry about retirement.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. I. I'm just still in shock. I'm still looking at this picture. Like I want to see a human next to it. Like if they put a human next to this thing, would all you see is their foot?
So what they do, no, you can find tons of great photos of these cars next to real human Asian women.
Yeah, I was
And the
thinking.
car
I was thinking. I
looks
hope he
more
doesn't say
like
Asian. I hope he doesn't say Asian.
oh, it's
Oh,
Well, it's a Chinese only car.
he
So
said
you see Chinese
you are stereotyping
ladies.
Asian people as being short, when I know thousands of Asians that are over 7 feet tall.
That's fair. That's fair. You and I do hang out at different circuses.
Yes, we do. Wow. Now you just said all Asians are in circuses. This is
What?
it's taking a
I
wrong
I
turn.
wouldn't know. I haven't seen them at the circuses I go to.
So when I scrolled down on this Wuling thing and I saw this inside picture, it made me think of the Yugo and the commercials that they used to
Mm.
make back in the 80s of the Yugo with the Yugo car, and they put tiny people in it and they put it next to like a half-size garage, like it was pulling into it, so it looked a lot bigger than it actually was. Because I know this is like some photo mastery render, because there's no place on Earth that looks anything like outside those windows. So this has to be a render.
It really does, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it does just because it's so clean, but even still, the fact that it looks spacious alone tells you it's trickery of some sort.
Oh, it definitely has to. Oh, wait a minute. That's a 10.25-inch screen. Oh, it's a dual screen. So right there,
Oh,
that's 20.5 inches, and that's
yeah.
probably about half the dash. So the car might be about 40 inches wide based on
Well,
this.
and the 10.5 is diagonal, so peel another inch or two off.
All right. So this car might be just a shade over a yard wide, a meter,
Grief.
3 feet.
That's ooh, I love it. Well, that's exciting. That's exciting. I'll be honest. For even at 10 grand, I don't think I'd buy one.
Uh,
Even as a neighborhood runaround.
I don't think I could actually get into it. I mean, I'm 6'4". I don't think I have a chance of getting into that car.
Huh.
I would
Yeah.
look like Mr. Incredible when he got into a car that size, remember?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And but I'm not as flexible as him, so
Uh,
let's talk about something more positive.
all right. Oh. Hmm. Mm-hmm.
The
Do you know
world
the world's? Yeah.
Oh,
Go ahead.
all right. The world's to deploy as much renewable energy in the next 5 years as the last 20 years. That is significant growth, and that's pretty exciting to see because there are places that are going to have a lot of benefits. It's not just the cost from it, and it's just weather-related stuff like what happened in Texas last year. Things like that won't happen because they're going to have battery storage to back all this stuff up, and we're not going to have as serious blackouts and brownouts and whiteouts and whatever out you want. I think this is great. It's going to shut down some coal plants that we don't need, that are polluting, and we'll be able to spread joy and harmony. Sorry, I can't say it with a straight face.
Well, and the thing is, pushing renewables used to be all about, sunshines and fairy tales and all that. But now it's just sheer economics. The capitalists are on board because it makes sense financially. And one of the complaints I've seen too much of is, oh, we can't go to solar because think of all the land you need. Well, first of all, parking lots exist, rooftops exist. And if you look at this lead photo, this is not destroying an environment. This is creating a subtly different environment that is now better for some creatures than it was before.
Yes, I guess you could say that.
I just did.
Yeah, I don't know how this grassy knoll thing is going to work out in the long run, because you do got to mow that stuff. You know that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I don't necessarily think that is the best base for a solar farm, because besides mowing it, whatever you mow, you have to clean up, because otherwise you're leaving dry trimmings, which are a potential fire hazard. You can't.
Depends how much it rains. We generally don't rake our grass. We just let it mulch.
And then what happens to it?
It becomes soil. It goes right back. It's a circle of life, baby.
Okay. All right. I don't know. All I know is that in a lot of areas of the country, the drier areas, Southwest, that stuff dries up. You got to clean it up. Because
Right. Or, yeah, it's going to be. No, I worked a summer with my stepdad mowing lawns. He'd hurt himself, and I was, I don't know, 15 or something. So I spent the whole summer mowing. And only about half of our customers had us remove the clippings. Maybe three-quarters had us remove the clippings. And the rest were just like, just mulch it right back into the grass. Because here it is wet enough that it just disappears.
okay. All right. Yeah, here you got to pick it up because otherwise it just looks like a snail trail across your yard. Doesn't look good.
Mark on your channel said sheep can eat the grass, and Angus said put cows on it.
Yeah. Sheep are probably one of those animals that will eat anything, and you do want to keep them away from the wires.
I didn't even think. Put goats out there.
Yeah.
Well, the plant's down again.
Yeah. I had two goats, and they ate everything.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's why I had to get rid of them, because they ate everything.
And Tech Fixer said, you don't have to mow it. Plenty of fields are left fallow. Because look at these steel posts. If it's over 3.5 feet, the grass isn't going to get high enough to obscure the panels. But anyway.
All right, we've analyzed the picture of the grass for way too long.
Right. So now we should analyze panels in Texas instead.
Yeah, this is the way to do it. Go flat or go home.
It makes sense because then at least it's the same shape as the Earth.
Why does that matter?
Well, it's a flat Earth joke, but...
Oh. Got it. I don't know why I missed that. Maybe my headphones are too tight. You see, now, I always wondered why they angle panels towards, like, the south or towards certain areas. I mean, I get why you wouldn't want to angle it north. I mean, that's obvious. But in the morning, you've got east sunlight. In the evening, you have west sunlight. And if you're running a battery, whether you create it in the morning or afternoon, you're still going to store it. And now this time of year, you'd want them pointed south. So for year-round best coverage, isn't flat the best?
So if your goal is to get the most electrons, then the answer is point it towards the equator, because that'll get you the most electrons year round. Now, if you look at Giga Texas, they face west.
Yes, they all face
the reason
west.
and the reason they do that is because even though they're not capturing the most electrons per day, they're capturing them at the best time of day in the early afternoon when the solar production needs to be higher for best financial use.
But aren't they using batteries to store the power that they?
Not yet.
But they would. They will, right? It seems logical that
they have a permit to put in a megapack installation there at the north end by the switchyard. But they're still going to be using more power than they generate. That battery is just going to be used to balance the grid and arbitrage for best pricing.
Right, but wouldn't flat like this get you the most over the course of a day?
No, slightly south facing would get you the most over the course of a day, because the sun is Texas is a lot closer to the equator, but just pointing it towards the equator is going to get you a little more photons, as Pedro points out. And Andrew points out that the panels at Giga Texas are almost flat. Yeah, I mean they are at an angle. They're not tracking the sun as some we've seen.
Yeah, that gets expensive to track the sun.
It does, and as this installation is pointing out, just mounting them at an angle has a cost.
Yeah, and I don't understand why it costs 70% more to angle them.
Right? Bizarre. Is that a little RC car that cleans the panels there in the picture?
Oh yeah, they got a robot on this. I think that's awesome.
It looks like.
Yes,
yeah.
You're right. They've got a robot that cleans the panels, and anybody want to like start a new business, cleaning solar panels is going to be a big business. I know for a fact that here in Arizona we don't get rain that much. You know, we can go months without getting rain. And my panels will start to turn brown. They'll have a light brown coat of dirt on them. And one time I went up on my roof and risked my life for this experiment, and I hosed them off. I hosed off a section of the panels of like one string, and then I compared my production. My production went up about 5%.
Wow.
Just because of the dirt that was sitting on there. So after it rains, like when we have a rainy day, which is rare, my panels will actually start producing more. But it doesn't rain enough to keep them clean all year long.
Yep. 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 I feel like we're falling behind. Do you know Texas is going to get more electricity from solar and wind than natural gas next year?
That is pretty amazing. Do they have the batteries to back that up?
It's still a small enough part of the grid that they don't need it.
Okay.
Yeah. Uh, yeah. So they'll be fine for a little while yet. And grid balancing is going to be more effective than trying to store, an overnight's worth of power.
But that storage is always great when there's a catastrophe.
Well, as somebody here, who was it, on my channel pointed out, as John pointed out, the batteries are also helpful so that if there is a blackout, you can shut things down in an orderly fashion rather than them simply blinking out.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah. And John also said, isn't Texas working with Tesla to do a virtual power plant? Yes, a statewide version at that, which will help. That's a big deal.
Yeah. And apparently, Texas has, I'm going to say, nearly 3 times the megawatts scheduled. Or, no, in 2021, they did about 3 times what California did, which is surprising.
For wind or
Yeah, for renewables.
just renewables generally? Well, Texas has a lot of wind, man.
Yeah. But wind, solar, and energy storage projects.
Yeah. It's exciting, man. It's happening. We did it. We lived long enough to see the future. Where's my jetpack?
Mark mentioned it regarding the flat panels. That flat is bad for snowy areas. But,
That's a good point.
well, I don't see the snow coming off of slightly angled built solar panels either. But if they're flat, you got the robo guy. He could be the snow shovel guy also. He doesn't have to just clean. He could shovel, possibly, or blow. Snow blower on a little robotic thing, just tearing up the panels.
Yeah. Yeah. Andrew wants to know, are they going to connect to nearby states? Texas don't do that. So I believe the answer to that remains no. Because, Barry, you know what the 3 energy grids are in the U.S., right? East, West, and Texas.
Okay. I thought this was a trick question.
No. They just don't connect. And it's not perfectly within the borders, but it's close.
I don't think that they should. I think there should be more division in something like that, because you've got hackers that could get in. They're getting into one entire section of the country, and they could have connections between them to help each other when the time is necessary. But we've seen things in the past where you have a blackout affect the entire section, like the whole Northeast. I don't know, 10, 20 years ago, they lost power.
I think it was about 10 years ago, and that was a wake-up call.
Yeah.
Well, it should have been a wake-up call.
Yeah, it should have been, but it wasn't. But you have something like that, and you're taking down a large section of the country. You get those hackers from the foreign countries that may not like you. That's like dropping an EMP and just putting you all out of business. So,
well, I'll tell you what I'm worried about is that with more electric cars, it's going to make power more expensive.
no, how could that possibly happen? Because what really happens, what the hell? I went to the wrong one.
That's a segue.
That wasn't the segue. Oh. But they say electric cars make utility bills actually cheaper for everyone. The reason for this is because more electricity is being used, but is using it at the cheaper times, so it's not causing any demand issues, but it's used at night. People are paying more for electricity, and utility companies have to give back a certain amount of the money that they bring in so that they're not gouging, which therefore turns into lowering the bill over the course of time.
Yep. And it's a big misconception. I don't think we need to spend much time on it here because if you're watching this channel, you already know this. And when I say this channel, I mean, as a reminder for the 8 of you who might be new, we're simulcasting on Bear's Workshop and My Tesla Live, the second channel of My Tesla Weekend.
We just couldn't decide who was going to have the live stream. So we said, why don't we both? What the hell?
Right. Well, and we knew that these live streams would generate literally ones of dollars per week. And we just couldn't agree on how to divide it. So we figured, you know what would be good? Let's double the amount of work we do.
Why not? Yeah, I'm actually making tens of dimes. So
that's awesome, bud. You didn't tell me. Wow.
I thought you knew.
Yeah. Gotta hit them slot machines with that kind of.
Yeah, well, speaking of slot machine kind of money and an untold amount of money, Biden announces $2.5 billion loan to help GM and LG make EV batteries.
Yeah. And this is a loan. This isn't free money. And the Department of Energy has done loans like this before. And some of these loans have gone bad, but this is LG and GM.
Yeah, GM's not paid back all their loans yet, so.
No.
But, and it just, it's kind of weird to me that they couldn't get money from somewhere else, but they had to get it from the government. And, well, I hope there's a decent interest rate on this. So, do they pay interest on this?
I'm sure they do. Programs like this almost always have interest. And the interest rate would have been set months and months ago, which means that if they were to borrow the money today, they'd be paying vastly more. So right there, it works out.
Yeah. They could just take the money and lend it to somebody else and use that interest to actually build the plant.
It's GM, man. They might just do that.
I think they probably would have started that because I got something from them today saying, hey, did you want to borrow some money to buy a car? So that might be them doing that already.
That's quite literally possible. Do you know that Panasonic is going to be supplying batteries to Lucid Air and Gravity and build in the U.S.?
That is the rumor. That is the rumor going on, and Lucid was pretty excited about that today. So they've secured another battery supplier. Who their other one is, I'm not even sure anymore. Things change so quickly. But they are going to need more batteries. They are producing tons of cars. Notice the word producing. Not
distributing and selling.
No, all they're doing, and maybe this is their goal. All they're doing is making some really cool looking flyovers for us. Because to see that many cars parked in the lot, and yeah, I know they're just sitting there, but wow, I mean, it looks pretty cool. But it would really look cooler if they'd all start disappearing. Do you know how many were on the last count?
I watched one of your videos maybe 2 or 3 days ago, and it was, what was it, hundreds?
1600s.
I don't remember it being that high. My God.
Yeah.
1600.
Yeah, there's approximate. I mean, I didn't count. I'm not that anal enough that I would go put a dot on every single car. And spend what? How many hours would that take?
Hours, man. Probably 4. Probably 4.
Yeah, I wouldn't spend 4 hours putting a dot on every single car to count them. Just not my thing. So I did a rough estimate. Got about 1,600 cars. Yeah.
John asked, I wonder where these cars go if they go bankrupt. And the answer is they sell them. When DeLorean went bankrupt, all the cars that were halfway through production were bought in the bankruptcy, sold in through the bankruptcy, and branded and all finished as the 1985 model year. So they would still hit the market if they go bankrupt. So that part isn't something to worry about. As of the last quarter, how many had they sold? Ever? Because isn't 1,600 like a very significant portion of all the Lucids ever built?
Yeah, I think they were somewhere around 2,500. I don't remember the exact number. Someone on my channel might know. I go through a lot of numbers and I get confused a lot. But so I don't remember the exact number. But their goal is to get their guidance for fourth quarter for the year was to get to 6,000 to 7,000 cars produced. So if they have 4,000 cars sitting there and they got that goal of 6,000, they've reached their guidance. So that's kind of what they're shooting for. But they are still trying to sell these cars. I know that. We do see car haulers from time to time. Why they're not going out as quickly as they can make them. I said this the other day on my live stream over Lucid. I think at some point there's going to be another little shake-up in management, and who's ever in charge of getting these cars out is going to be shaken right out of the box. Then they won't be able to cash in on their options. That happens at Lucid. And they're going to bring in...
And they won't get their employee discount on the car.
Oh, God, the employee discount. We talked about that last week, right?
We did, yeah. It's so for those not just tuning in, it's an $18,000 discount for employees if the car is over $154,000 and it's sold out of inventory, and it's actually applied as $500 off per paycheck as long as you don't quit or get fired. Daniel had a great idea on how to keep track of whether or not they're the same cars or if they're actually moving, and just put a paintball gun on your drone and mark them.
Oh, we had another idea, was to fly a plane over and drop a bag of rocks.
I see no downside.
No downside. Yeah, we're not going with that plan. It's a horrible plan. The rock part.
It is terrible.
The rock
it
part.
Is terrible.
The paint gun. Yeah, I'll see if we can get that mounted. I don't see any problems with the FAA on that at all. No.
Or the local police.
Or my soul, because that would just...
So my thumbnail mentions vans. Can we talk about vans?
No.
Because this is a van.
When is the Lucid van coming out?
All right. Rivian, yeah, so here we go. This is a Honda.
Wait. Oh, we didn't. I was like wondering about the van thing, but okay. Yeah, we're getting set. We're on the Honda one, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. This adorable little 124 miles of range, $7,300. It's a little around town delivery vehicle.
If you scroll down, you're going to find out that the concept was created by some 12-year-old on Minecraft.
That sounds right.
Yeah.
It's very silly. It's very silly.
Again, this is a render, and that's why it has all those smooth lines on it. It looks so fancy. But I would like to see, again, an average person standing next to it, because this...
Yeah, it's definitely going to be on the smaller side. I'd like to know how many cubic feet of storage there is behind the driver's compartment.
When you have a vehicle this size, you don't measure it in cubic feet. You do it in inches. That way, it doesn't register in your head like how many feet there really is.
That's funny.
Or like, I know this guy who used to measure gigatexas in different things. So
crazy.
Yeah,
that guy sounds like a lunatic.
Yeah. So maybe he would take one of those things like ball bearings. How many ball bearings can you fit in? And you would just be like, well, what size ball bearings? Are they steel? Are they plastic? I mean, let's be more specific. Just to throw people off.
It's a good idea. The guy sounds like someone you should definitely subscribe to.
Yeah, he does. And, forget about you for a minute, but if you guys want to subscribe to that guy's channel who likes to measure things and all sorts of different things, his channel is My Tesla Weekend.
Yeah, he's a real so-and-so. Can we talk about a real van?
We could if we had any real vans to talk about. But is this real? The new Mercedes e-Sprinter? That's not a render.
That's not a render.
Congratulations, our first non-render of the day.
That's an award we have to give out, apparently.
Yeah.
So only sold in Europe, a mere 93 miles of range. That's how you know it's not a render, is because you would lie about that. Well, pre-production prototype.
That was the current generation's 93 miles. The new one is going to have 300 miles of range,
That's right.
and come in other colors besides yellow and green, we hope.
Mhm.
295-mile journey with 12 miles of range left in the tank. And that was in Germany. So those are actually real miles. Those are
Right. At
WLTP.
speed.
Yeah.
Well, there's, yeah. When it comes to a commercial vehicle, I think it's critical that you not fudge the numbers to look better because your customers will be stranded, and that's a problem.
Yeah. Well, I think it's kind of critical that they don't fudge the numbers, period.
It's not. It's not. Uh, Daniel asked, "Isn't that a Ford?" No, all the Transit vans look the same.
Yeah, they really do. I kept thinking I was looking at the Transit, and I know I'm looking at a Mercedes. They are very, very similar.
Yeah, it's the form factor.
If you want a van that looks different, go back to the previous article.
AB, this is great. And you can fit it in the back of your Mercedes Sprinter, I would wager.
Oh, I wouldn't take that bet because you would be right.
I bet you could. Oh, because it's... God, now I want to see that.
So what could we put this in the back of?
I bet... Could you fit it in the back of a Rivian?
You might. These things are
See,
they are big.
Yeah. Well, and the Mercedes was supposed to be a partnership with this vehicle. And what do you think happened?
I think somebody made a tweet that another person didn't like, and from there it just snowballed. And
Really?
No, I just
because I was going to say I think both sides backed out. I think Mercedes said, you know what, we can go it on our own. We're not going to pay licensing or whatever. And I think Rivian said, you know what, we've got so much demand, we don't need to be working with Mercedes.
I think that's very possible, though I do think that Rivian would probably like to get as many of these produced as possible. And as far as I can tell, they are producing them. I don't know how many, but there are quite a few of them that I get to see all the time because I am now seeing them on a regular basis.
At the around town, you mean? Yeah, that's great.
Yes, sir.
And increasingly the sightings are ratcheting up. And to me, this is what can save Rivian.
Mm-hmm. Yes. This will definitely help float them for a while. The vans have an enormous cargo area. They do exactly what they're supposed to do. Then they go back to the Amazon hub. They recharge. That's what we're looking at here is an Amazon site with the charging station. I really hope that's not the one that I actually went to. It doesn't look like it, but I'd like to think that these are now popping up all over the country because they'll have 40, 50 charging stations at each one of these hubs, and they're probably going to grow them even some more. Amazon's going to save a ton of money on gas. They're going to spend a lot more on electricity. Maybe they get some solar panels, but I think it's a great way for them to go.
So this is beautiful because Amazon vans don't run 24 hours, which means you've got basically from 9 p.m. until 9 a.m. to get the lowest price on juice.
Mm-hmm. That's true. That is true, and I guarantee you they're probably getting a price somewhere in the 3-cent range, 3 to 4 cent range.
Yeah, if they're over 6 cents in the middle of the night, I'd be surprised.
Yeah. I mean, I'm getting 4 cents at night because of my solar panel plan. And Nikola is also getting like around 3 cents that on their deal that they worked out with APS.
So JJ wants to know, have we talked about how your tax dollars are paying for Nikola hydrogen stations yet?
We have not talked about that yet. If you'd like to, maybe we'll do that on the next Nikola live stream. But yeah, they're not yet. They're not yet paying for it. Why is JJ complaining about this?
I don't. I think he's being funny.
Oh, because
I think he's concerned trolling. Yeah,
he's trolling himself. He loves Nikola, and but yes, you know what he's doing? He's actually getting us to talk about Nikola.
Yeah,
and the fact
was actually very smart.
Yeah,
that's a good one.
Okay, yeah, that's what he's actually doing. So yeah, not that this is anywhere in anything that we were going to talk about. But Nikola's moved to the next step of their next phase of getting their $1.5 billion loan for their hydrogen hub project. There's 12 LLCs that they create. Well, there could be more now. Last time I checked, there was 12 different Phoenix Hydrogen Hub LLCs that were created to create different plants around Arizona, and they're entered their next phase to get 1.5 billion with a B, as in Brian. That's a lot of money. So this is a loan. Also, it will need to be paid back.
Charlie pointed out with these Rivians, that there's one in his neighborhood, and that the different drivers seem to love them.
I haven't had a chance to talk to a driver yet.
I haven't either, but it would make sense. They don't vibrate the way the diesels do. They're quieter. I assume
they don't smell.
At least as comfortable. Yeah, at least as comfortable, maybe more comfortable. And from this picture in the gallery, it looks like it's got bunk beds back there, which is great.
Yeah, I don't think those are bunk beds.
Oh, you don't?
No, I don't. But you know what? I am a little curious to see how these do in the summertime out here. Because I remember while they were developing these, they were talking about the air conditioning took like half the range.
Yeah.
Oh, those are nice bunk beds.
Yeah. Yeah, those are great parcel racks.
I call the top.
So eCascadia, that's still a thing.
That is, and they just got an order for nearly 100 of these short-range trucks. I say short range, and I mean it.
Yeah.
They are, what was it, 125 or 150?
I think the Kenworth is 150. I think these might even be 230.
Oh, these are the 230 ones. All right.
Yeah. Well, and actually I think 230 is up to 230, yeah.
Okay. Yeah,
yeah, so these ones aren't as bad.
Okay.
It's the Peterbilt and Kenworths that you're thinking of that are 150.
You see my little Cybertruck behind me?
Yes, I do.
When I pull it back and I let it go, it goes forward. It's got more range than the Kenworth.
Yep, that's right. Interesting. But 100 trucks, that's a big deal.
That is and it isn't, because they're not a startup. I would have thought that they would have been able to get some larger orders from some of their existing customers a lot quicker.
I don't know if they could ramp necessarily to 1,000 out of the gate, but I don't know.
I wonder what they have else on order. If they how many other orders they have.
Yeah. Hiking Lang wants to know, is 230 miles with or without the load? And the thing is, it's not that, it's with, but it's not that different. I've seen people say, well, if Tesla's range is 500 with a load, imagine how far it could go unladen. And the answer is not much further. Once you're up to speed, it doesn't really take that much juice. It's just pushing through the air that's the big problem. But it's certainly, I would agree with you, Bear, 230 loaded.
Yeah, they have to give the loaded numbers, otherwise you're just
upsetting customers.
Yeah. I spoke to somebody at Nikola, and I said to them, when they were telling me the range, when the range was pinned at 350, I said, well, what is it unloaded? Like, what if the truck's driving back? What's the range? And they actually never tested it that way. Or it's not that they never tested it. He didn't know. And so he didn't know of any testing that was done with it to find out.
Because the customer doesn't care.
But it does matter. If you just have to transport a truck somewhere, if you have to move it somewhere, how much range do I have left to get back? It matters.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's the most important thing, but...
No, but... Yeah. I'm sure somebody will
here's the
figure
thing.
it out almost immediately.
A lot of times when these trucks drive somewhere, and they take into account their fuel cost going in one direction, and they don't want to come back with an empty load. But when you have to come back with an empty load, how much does it cost you? Well, if this truck is unloaded getting 500 miles of range, any truck, as opposed to the 350 that it would have had if it was loaded, well, that's substantial. You're now saving a lot more money. Well, maybe not a lot. Electricity is almost free. The hell am I talking about?
No one knows, Bear, but we just smile and nod.
I need another hit of something.
Do you know that Tesla delivery train spotted carrying a ridiculous load of EVs?
Yeah, that train just kept on coming. Did you? I'm gonna run the video just so that.
Oh, is that a video? Oh,
Yeah, there's a video, and you can see how many Teslas are on that train. And all I can do is look at this and go, "Why can't Lucid do this?"
I don't know the answer to that.
And I don't even know if the transportation is their hang up or if it's something pre-transportation. But yeah, those are cars getting moved to somewhere else in the country. A lot of them.
Boy, that video does kind of go on a little bit, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. And we didn't even start at the back.
No, we didn't. We started somewhere in the middle, and then we just kept going.
Yeah. Interesting. I had heard that the Model Y is fairly popular. Is that true?
It is fairly popular, but yet it is sinking into the negative territory
Oh, is it?
for the approval ratings.
Oh, is that the one we're doing next? Okay.
That's what you were
Yeah,
talking
so
about.
yeah, so this story is perhaps a bit overblown. Tesla's approval rating sinks into negative territory, survey finds. There are a lot of people who are super, super annoyed with the goings on of Twitter. It's going to have a permanent impact. I think permanent might be overstated. I thought Dieselgate would have a permanent impact on Volkswagen, but it doesn't seem to have. It's certainly frustrating I've seen a number of, especially on Twitter and Reddit, a number of people who purchased their Tesla stock within the last year, and they're scared. They're scared and they're hurting. But you know what, guys? The whole market is down.
Yeah,
Look at Facebook.
The entire market is down. I mean, I'm sure there's a few here and there that might be up, but over the last year, it's going to be very hard to find something that is up.
Yeah. Well, and like you said, oh, well, what about XYZ? Great. Cool. But the indexes are down, tech stocks are down. And well, my cousin isn't going to buy one now because he's so mad. Okay, that may be true, but as long as the backlog is longer than the cancellations, it won't affect the financials, which means we've got a year, 2, 3 before we actually get to the point where there's Teslas on the lot that people can just go get. Now, right now, there's a couple because the EV credit doesn't kick in for another 3 weeks. But, this too shall pass. Like a kidney stone. Might hurt, but it's coming out either way, baby.
Thou shall not pass.
Oh, get the ultrasound to break it up, I think, is what you do then.
Oh, yeah.
We're still talking about kidney stones, right?
I was talking about some demon in Lord of the Rings.
Oh, that's right. You're Gandalf.
Yeah.
You guys, look.
I need
Hiking Lang said, I live near some
I got
tracks.
a hat. I got a hat now. Wizards got to wear hats.
I'm just going to tell you, you look fantastic.
Thank you. I think I look like the that other wizard that had crap growing in his beard.
So, Hiking Lang said something that I was also thinking. I live near some tracks in the mid-Atlantic, and all our car carriers are covered. CSX tracks. I'm surprised the Tesla train was uncovered. Yeah, the ones we see them loading in Texas are typically covered.
They are covered, yes.
Enclosed car haulers. So, yeah, interesting, but you know, yeah. Jeff says Q4, back to the demand thing. Q4 will be okay. Q1 will be better than expected. Yeah, I saw someone very concerned. Oh, the 50% is over. It's over. They can't hit it. It's like, no. 50% is an average. And we know that sometimes it'll be less, sometimes it'll be more. And next year it's gonna be more because Shanghai is already at a run rate of 1.2 million plus a year. And Berlin is really ramping up. If you look at the drone footage, you'll see a lot of cars coming out and shipping out. And yeah, in Texas, same deal. Next year's going to be pretty amazing.
I think 2024 is going to be a little bit harder to double 2023 or 50%.
Yeah, we'll see. Yeah, it's tough because we're getting to some pretty serious numbers.
Right. And
yeah.
I'm willing to sit here and wait. We can just talk about it until that happens if you want.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's stream until Q1 of 24.
I wonder if there's a world record streaming.
Lo-fi beats or something like that has had the record. I think their stream was at like 2.5 years, but it was just music.
Then I'm talking
the
about
only
like,
reason they, yeah,
that's not. That
right.
my radio station's doing that.
Right. I've seen streams that went out to 24 hours for special events. But again, that was almost like a TV production where they had scheduled breaks and they would play videos to cover the breaks and all that. But
no, I'm talking about a stream where one or two people are on there and they just go as long as they possibly can.
So Jeff wants to know: could Shanghai be switching to Model Y castings? And he also suggested that we do a New Year's special. Yeah. So it's possible the Model Y could be getting different or improved or simplified castings. They're still denying the rumors of slowdowns and shutdowns. I think if there's any slowdown, it's because of part shortages from places that were more impacted by shutdowns. But but yes, they could absolutely be switching to castings. And I think what we're going to see in Shanghai at some point is the new Model 3 design with the castings and the structural battery that will change, that will improve wholesale cost and thus margins
and speed up the line.
Yeah. So, by the way, for those tuning in late, yeah, sky's falling. Sure. But we're fine because it's not actually falling.
Yeah. I've got Stan over here asked about the Lucid production schedule. How many shifts per day, days per week? And we think there's 3 shifts, and we think they're going 7 days a week. We've gone at nighttime, and we're seeing crews there still making cars. So we think they're going around the clock to get to that production goal.
I noticed Vincent is named has the same name as the city.
Weird. But without the space. I wonder if that's actually his name or if he's maybe from Casa Grande.
I think I would be more inclined to suspect he's a local than he's. But I mean, I don't know. I don't work here.
Then why not space it and capitalize the G like it's actually spelled?
Life is full of great questions, man.
Vincent, you answer my question, I'll answer yours. What about the first 50,000 Lucid reservations to Saudi Arabia? They're not supposed to happen until I think next, and they're going a few thousand next year, and then they'll steadily increase until they get to whatever the final number ends up being. But it's just going to be a few thousand next year. So I don't believe that any of the cars in the lot are for Saudi Arabia yet.
We're a little bit short on time. We got one more story to cover.
The
Cybertruck body shown in spy images and video from Giga Texas. This is no.
This is wrong.
So the I'm just gonna reload it so I don't have to deal with that. This casting is substantially bigger than what we were expecting. And Sandy Munro made a great video about it. Go ahead.
Yeah, Sandy Munro pointed out that this is not a mega casting. This is actually 5 different pieces of casting. I will put my mouse over the top section here. That's 1.
Huh?
That's 2. Going over to the other side, 3 and 4, and then 1 in the middle. That is, he says there's at least 5 castings there, and they were just welded together because this is a prototype.
Yes. And this is good for tooling. But there are elements here that we have seen under wraps. If you look at the back top where there's like fins, these little protrusions at the top, at the very back of the casting there, you can see those sticking out of the wraps that were under the white plastic at the factories. So this is, probably reasonably close to what the final's going to be, but there's just more questions here than answers.
Yes, there definitely is, and someone with an engineering background would probably have a lot more questions than me. I'm kind of curious why it's painted white. Is that
just overspray? Just overspray.
From what?
I saw from the side of the body here, but I don't know why. I saw one guy say, "Well, this can't be final because there's nowhere for a pass through." It's like pass. What are you talking? That was never.
I've heard rumors of pass-throughs.
I didn't.
Yeah,
I didn't. That's where the tonneau cover goes.
No. Every time some GM or Ford came out with a new feature in their electric vehicles, it seemed to like get added onto the Hummer, like the 4-wheel steering, things like that. But the pass-through, I think, is a great feature, though.
It's great.
You don't. Okay.
Well, it's great. They're not going to have it, not on the first generation, but it's great. It's a great idea.
All right. Vincent responded.
Oh, let's hear it.
That's my real name, and I'm a big Lucid investor. Thanks.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
Huh.
I told you.
Well,
it was missing capitalization. It looked like a name.
Well, I can miss all kinds of capitalization, and so if you scroll down,
wait a minute,
on this article,
Vincent's name translates to Big House.
Yeah, they call him Vinny Big House.
It's kind of a cool name. I like it.
It really is. Yeah. My name not quite as cool. If I and that's a problem is what am I supposed to do with like an EV thing? If I'm going to create a battery company, what am I supposed to call it? White Power? I can't do that. It's already taken.
Oh wow! Oh my
so if you
goodness!
Scroll down here,
did you just make that up? Yeah, did you just make that up?
Years ago.
Okay.
If you scroll down, there's what appears to be a Cybertruck under white plastic. And right at the front corner, the top corner closest to the camera, you can see a pokey protrusion, and that's the fin that you see up in the higher up pictures.
Okay, I like it.
It might be for attachments. I don't know.
Yeah, could be for a lot of things. I'm just not sure what.
Yeah. Oh, William says that the white that you see is powder coat for corrosion. I don't know. Powder coat is usually baked on. And this, I guess it could be baked. That'd be a pretty big oven. But anyway, we are well past our time.
We sure are.
I'd like to thank Bears patrons. Yeah.
And I would like to thank Brian's patrons for coming over to the dark side or the light side, whichever way you want to look at it. When you do.
That's true.
We just want to thank all of you guys for being here. As always, it's been fun. It's been a blast. And we are going to be doing this again next Tuesday. Even though there's holidays, we will still be here for you.
Yeah. Let's look at the calendar real quick. Yeah, no, we're fine because the Tuesdays we've got the 20th and the 27th. We're going to miss Christmas completely and New Year's. We'll be on schedule just fine.
Yes, we will.
Last year, I did my Friday live stream on like Christmas Eve or Christmas Day, whatever it was. And I was like, you know what? I could have skipped this, but I'm here for you guys and we're just going to have some fun. God, I lost so many subscribers over that. People are like, this guy. Like, really? That's my Christmas bonus? All right, well, hey, man. Can't please everybody all the time. Not even on Christmas.
All right. Well, that's going to be it
Yeah.
for us. For me, I'm done. Brian, you could stay
Yeah.
on if you want.
Yeah, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna stay on and not tell you that I'm still streaming, and then I get to the public gets to see you for who you really are.
Oh. Oh.
He peels off the mask. He's a lizard. That's right.
V. Remember V?
I do. I
Yeah.
do. It had 21 million viewers on its first episode. Pretty good. It's like a 40 share. Don't get that anymore.
No.
All right. Thank